None may challenge Serpentor! This I command!
He may not have been the first triple changer for the Robots in Disguise line, but thanks to the original Generation 1 cartoon, he's probably one of the most well-known. Thanks, in a large part, to being the Decepticons' primary means of long-range transportation. Yes, friends, this is Astrotrain. Hey guys, before we get into the review, I just want to take a moment to say that if you're looking for this toy I'm reviewing, you can find it and a whole lot more at Big Bad Toy Store. I'm not even sponsored by them, but as a serious collector, this is where I shop, because they have the inventory to cover any fandom. Plus, I know when I buy from Big Bad Toy Store, my order is going to be processed quickly and arrive at my door in showroom condition. If you'd like to see what I mean, there's a link below the video in the description. Astrotrain comes to us in the second part of the War for Cybertron series, Earthrise, as a leader class Decepticon. I know some people have a problem with the price point between Voyager class and leader class figures, but while leader class figures may not be taller than Voyager class, they do have more accessories that increase their overall mass. And since that is different from previous releases, and it used to be the taller they were, the more expensive they were, I can understand the confusion. So we're going to start this off by transforming Astrotrain from his robot mode into his space shuttle mode. And I'm going to start this by moving his fists into their stored positions inside the forearms. And then we need to rotate the forearms 180 degrees so that they're facing backwards. Once you do that, you can then raise the arms up over the head. Now, see these points right here? There's a slot and a tab, and they're going to fit right into each other. His elbows are double hinged. So, again, you just rotate it and fold it up, and then you're going to fit that slot into that tab, and it should go in relatively easily. And then his arms just stay up above his head like this. Now we take his little skirt flaps here and fold them up and cover the abdominal area. And then he has these tabs on his side that you're going to open and then flip the whole chest plate up. And now you can put those tabs down. That'll lock the chest plate into place. And then just fold the tail rudder up. Now, it's got a slot on the bottom of it. You can see here that you have to make sure you put that down in between the arms, because those will, once it's locked in, that'll hold it in place. So his wings are double hinged. We're going to fold those up, and the engines are also on a double hinge. We're going to unlock that and flip that up into place. Now, you kind of have to hold all of this together. The tail rudder and his arms, press them down, and then press the engines so that they fit over those tabs. And there. Now it's all locked into place. Now we can work on the lower half of his body, which is going to form the front half of the space shuttle. First, just unfold the feet, flip them all the way over to the back side of his legs, and they just press in and friction hold into place. Now, you kind of have to hold on to his upper leg and pop out that lower part. It's on a double hinge, so it'll just swing out and up, revealing the cockpit halves inside the lower part of his legs. Press those together and then fold the lower part of the outer skin of his legs over the upper part. Now, when we turn it over, you can see these little locking tabs here. We're just going to press this in until those catch. There we go. Now just give it a squeeze and that tabs in. Flip it over and make sure that it tabs in on the top too. There we are. Everything is all nice and sealed up. And there we have space shuttle mode. Moving on from the basic body, now we have Astrotrain's backpack. So we're just going to fold these sides out and then bring it down flat. And then we can take these extra feet pieces that he has for his robot mode and slide these over the tabs that are on the one of the four sides. And then if you choose to, once you've got that, you can fold these sides down just so it covers less surface area. The instructions actually tell you to leave it out, but I like to fold them in. And then you have this plate that you just bring it out, rotate it, and move it back down so it lays flat. And that piece will actually peg into the engines on the shuttle itself, and then you have a launching platform. Now we bring in the accessories. Astrotrain has a lot of guns, so here they are. And there's all different kinds of places around him to put them in. He's got the two main rifles there, and there's this missile launcher, and then these two other smaller rifles, which are normally stored in the backpack. So he's got all kinds of slots around the outer area of his body there, up on the top of the fuselage, on the wings, along the sides. So, I mean, the instructions always tell you where to put these things the way Hasbro suggests you have them laid out, but this is yours, guys. Put them, wherever you want to. It's your figure, how you want to display it. Go ahead and put them on there. I like to put the two main guns on the wings and then put the two smaller ones on the roof of the fuselage. And then you've got the two ports near the nose on either side. And I mean, pick and choose. You've only got one more thing, the missile launcher, so where do you want to put it? It's not going to be symmetrical because you only have one. And if you're OCD like me, that's probably going to drive you nuts. But you can also put it away somewhere and not display it. So, but there's his weapons. So to go from shuttle to train configuration, we're going to basically do this in reverse from what we did before. We're going to separate the lower half and then pull the cockpit in half. And this is where the front of the train appears. You just rotate the cockpit 180 degrees, and then there's these little pieces that are inside. I'll zoom in here on the other one. We'll get that turned around and then take a closer look here. You can see that there. That just grab a hold of the back half of that and just flip that out. That's going to become like your smokestack on the front of the locomotive. Okay, and then we just tab those together. And then once that's tabbed together, then you move those leg coverings back up. And bring those in, tab those together as well. Both flip it over, make sure it's tabbed on both the top and bottom. Now, the difference here between the shuttle mode and the train mode is the top is now the bottom is now the top. So now we have to pull the engine covering off because we no longer need the tail rudder. So we're going to flip that down like we would in robot mode, put that all back, but we still need the arms up. So now we tab the engine plate back in and now fold the wings in, and the wing tips will also fold down. Now there's a slot and tab on these that are kind of tricky. You kind of have to squeeze it so that they'll hit. There's the tab right there, and there's the slot on the wingtip. But they won't line up perfectly. You kind of have to squeeze the wings in with one hand and then press down until it tabs in. Do the same thing on the other side. And there, now the wings are held in place. Now for the wheels, we just rotate those around. They won't go all the way into place until you move the forward ones out a little bit. So then once they line up, just tab them in. Same thing on the other side. Swing this one around till it hits. Bring that one down. They line up, tab them in. And there is the locomotive. But we're not done. There's more to the locomotive. Oh, look, it rolls. And the focus is going crazy. Yay. It does roll nice. The only thing that drives me nuts is about the front wheels, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so here's the launching platform from shuttle mode. We're gonna put this back into its basically like its backpack configuration. The only difference is we have to make sure that this plate right here is rotated around so that it is facing the exterior of the box. Bring the bottom up, sides in, and then bring this down. It'll all tab in. It's kind of a pain, but the final piece will hold everything all into place. They have tabs on all three sides. And there, once it's all locked in, you just make sure the wheels are facing down, line up the tabs, and then press them into the engines for the shuttle, just like you did when it was a loading platform. And now we have a locomotive with its coal tender, which the original G1 Astrotrain didn't have a tender, but this one does. Now this is the only thing that drives me nuts about this mode. Look at those front wheels. Why are they even there? They're not making contact with the ground when you have it laying on a flat surface. There's no point to them even being wheels. I mean, maybe when they designed this, they could have put like some kind of flip out thing on there that turned into a cow catcher like a locomotive would have. I don't know. Anything other than wheels that don't make contact with the ground and serve zero purpose. It just doesn't look good. I don't know. You could have thought of something better, Hasbro. And then, of course, inside the tender, this is where we store the missile launcher and those two smaller rifles. They just tab right into ports inside there and it can close up. Or if you want to, like I said, it's yours. Do with it what you will. You can put the extra rifles on the outside into some of those other ports and make it an armed train. Looks pretty cool. So we've done from robot to shuttle, then from shuttle to train. Now we're going to go from train back to robot. So we're going to put these wheel panels back to where they were when it was in shuttle mode. And then we untab the wingtips and fold the wings down. And now we can pop the leg sections apart. And the same with the front of the train. And we're going to fold these pieces back in and rotate it back into the shuttle cockpit position on both sides. And now we're not going to tab them together. Instead, We're going to pull the outer sections of the leg down and snap them into place. And then we can take these feet, untab them from the back. And as you can see, I like to just pull it out just a little bit right there and get that tabbed in. Now his feet are in place. And then we just have to bring his arms down, which first we have to take this engine plate off and then rotate that down in. Same with the wings, double hinge, bring that down into place, it tabs in. And now we can bring his arms down, fold them out, rotate 180 degrees. And then the last thing is getting his fists rotated back out. They can kind of be tricky, only because I don't have any thumbnails to grab a hold of them with. Come on. Yeah, there we go. That's it. All right. Bring his arms down. And he's looking good. Now we're going to get into what I was talking about with a leader class figure and their accessories adding to their mass. You're going to take the tender and disassemble it here. Just need to turn this piece around and then fold it down so it's flat against the outside so that can attach to his back. But first, those two pieces we just pulled off, those are going to peg into the bottom of his feet. If you have Siege Shockwave, it's similar. So there, those are now on the bottom of the feet. See how they extend out the back? I kind of rather like that because pegging the backpack here on adds a lot of weight to throw him off center, where you would think he would just topple over backwards, but because his feet are longer on the back side, they keep him balanced and upright. Now, what to do with all of these guns? Well, you can put a couple of them back like they were in the tender, or you can put them all together and make one big gun. First, you take his two bigger rifles and hook them into each other, and then the two smaller rifles will peg into the side. See, here I am being OCD again. I always have to make sure that they're nice and level and lined up and symmetrical. And then once you got that, the missile launcher here will peg into the bottom. And there you go. That's a big gun. Now you just have to get it in his hand. Oh, I forgot to put his little pant skirt things here down. Here we go. Whoops, forgot that. Okay, now the trick is keeping him balanced with this big honking gun.
And that's how, with a few minor adjustments, you can turn a regular gun into 5 guns.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Astrotrain. That's all of his transformations and all of his accessories. And just because I really like this figure and this character, this is him beside the Generation 1 version of Astrotrain, so you can see how much he has actually changed. If you've made it all the way to the end, then I'd like to thank you so much for sticking around and watching. And thank you once again to all of my Patreons. You guys make these videos worth making. Thank you so much. And again, thank you all to all of you that take the time to like, comment, and subscribe. Because with you and the patrons, that's why I do this. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.